America's most controversial airport is now number 1 in the country. The blizzard of 03, however, was not a particularly good time for 30 miles, with only one road in and one road out, 4,000 people were stranded at the airport. A lucky 800 DOS problems, highlighted by these storms, should ideally never happen again, thanks to long-term improvements over the last few years. As in it becomes, which is why it raised an eyebrow when, last November, the Wall Street Journal published its pronounced DIA number 1, dubbing it the Mile High Miracle. Once a symbol of, so how the hell does the most hated and controversial airport in America rise to number 1? DIA is the country's largest airport by size, an oft-repeated metric that does nothing to convey just how huge it actually is. At 52 points, DIA sits way farther from the city center, about 30 minutes drive. Denver's originals, the desire for a bigger, better airport had been percolating in one form or another as far back as the 1960s. Developers saw Project DIA got off the ground in 1989. The airport was built. By the time DIA was finally unveiled in early 1995, 16 months late and in today's dollars $3.3 billion over budget, everyone already hated it. Throughout the in 2008, Blucifer arrived. Bluficer's official name is Blue Mustang, but no one calls it that. If they don't call it Blucifer, or whatever demonic appellation you prefer, is DIA's 32-foot tall, anatomically correct, electric blue fiberglass horse, with glowing red laser eyes that will pierce through rain and fog, straight into your soul as you drive past. Mentions of Blucifer, anxiously I fly. Apocalyptic hell beast. Fails to soothe my nerves. The only people who really seemed into the horse were the conspiracy theorists, who proclaimed the statue to be the fourth horseman of the apocalypse, the one symbolizing death. Matters were not helped for Coloradans using DIA in the late aughts. Blucifer quickly came to encapsulate everything we hated about the airport. Setting aside that Kim Day was appointed DIA's CEO in 2008, and under her direction the airport has, among other things, taken a refreshing approach to the conspiracy stuff. These days, we have really focused these last 7 or so years on the customer experience, Day says. And trying to make DIA had a fairly auspicious 2018. In May, if you have occasion to visit DIA today, you might stumble across such offerings as, or maybe a member of they, which comprises 100 dogs and one single cat, either to justify the acronym or because it's just an especially friendly cat wearing blue Pet Me vests. The Wi-Fi is free, as fast as you'll find at any airport, and you don't have to log into anything or sit through those annoying ad videos before you can access it. Security is In 2015, DIA unveiled its adjoining Westin Hotel, a 519-room luxury annex in front of the main terminal that my mom refers to as the Sunglasses, though I've always thought it looked more like a cruise ship viewed from the side. You can get TS. In 2016, a long-awaited commuter rail line began running between DIA and Union Station downtown. The RTDA, that's been a huge success, Day says. I think we always, and the Westin, though profitable, has attempting to check exactly how profitable. But both were everyday DIA gets a little bigger, though it's taken some time for the frustrations with the airport to soften into something closer to casually beloved idiosyncrasies. These days, my guess is we'll begin constructing new gates the moment we stop that project, Day said. I am serious. For our daily Thrillist email, get for more travel coverage, and for our YouTube channel to get your fix of the best in food/drink/fun.
Raindrop, truck top, top smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park,